Hey everybody, welcome to this week's live stream, or I guess the second live stream of the week. We're going to turn up one of those Cholla Cactus handle blanks that we made last time. So if you didn't see, I can't remember if I posted now. I posted a bunch of videos. I might not have posted this, but here are the results of our blanks. These things look crazy. So it occurred to me, these things ended up turning out, they look like Seahawks colors. But you can see I cut the ends here, and you can see that the little cactus guys are kind of hanging out towards the sides on these guys. Let's see, let's put those there, put these ones here. But they turned out pretty cool. The outsides look great, so I'm hoping the insides are even better. So we got 5 of those. I'm going to make, excuse me, I'm going to make 5 more. Oh my God. I'm okay. I'm going to make 5 more of these, and they'll go into the mystery boxes for the folks. And here is what we're going to be sticking on our handle today. This is a pizza cutter wheel. Very simple kit. It's got the 3/8/16. You can use the same hardware and universal mandrel and all that stuff as your bottle stoppers for like the stainless bottle stopper setup. So it's a pretty nice one. I'm pretty excited about that. And let me switch views to the lathe, and I decided to pick one of these. I really wanted to see how this blue sparkle stuff looked, so I decided to pick one of these guys to turn today. So I got everything, I drilled it out, and I glued in one of those. Let me go grab one just in case somebody doesn't know what I'm talking about. Drilled a hole, glued in one of these inserts from stainless bottle stoppers. It's a 3/8/16 thread, and then you just drill a 1/2-inch hole and then glue it right in there. Now, one thing that I just about screwed up on, I realized my mistake, my error, while I was kind of getting things set up today. So I didn't even think about it, but I drilled the hole to fit the mandrel. The thread on the mandrel, which is only maybe about 3/4 the length of this stud. So I was like, oh man, so I had to chuck it back up, or reverse it again, and then drill another, drill deeper. So make sure when you're drilling your hole that you drill it for the right size, the depth, of whatever you're going to be putting on there. These pizza cutter things and some of the other kits are a little bit longer than a bottle stopper. So luckily everything worked out fine. I found a drill bit that would fit into that hole, drilled it out, and then what I actually did is I also came back with, and this is actually, this isn't a bad way to go. I wouldn't recommend drilling the way that I did it, like drilling further later. Drill the whole way through. But what I recommend is grab a tap and tap the 3/8/16 threads further in there, and then this thing, because the little nut thing, that's not holding the whole way. So I tapped threads into that deeper hole. So when you twist this thing on, it'll grab onto the nut, but it'll also grab threads into the handle as well. So that's not a bad way to go. So anyway, I kind of dodged a bullet there. So so it looks like Lelia was here first, and Kim and Ann. Nice. Yeah, I kind of thought we might have a little bit less people today, a smaller crowd, because it's Memorial Day weekend. I'm sure a lot of people are doing barbecues, and there might even be some, like high school graduations going on right now. So I'm not kind of surprised if we don't get a whole lot of people. Plus, I set it up a little bit later today. I didn't get into the shop until earlier. So we'll see who comes, and if they miss it, they can watch the replay, and then I'm going to, do the editing down thing later on and post that. So, hey, Alex is here. What's up, man? And Dottie, too. How's it going? All right, so I think we're all ready. Trying to think if there's any other things to mention. I have links to the pizza cutter wheels down in the description below, as well as lots of other things. The universal mandrel that I'm using from stainless bottle stoppers. Let's see, Cholla. I actually found Cholla Cactus on Amazon, too. I would probably recommend searching for like a bulk supplier. I haven't looked lately, but I found mine on Etsy, so I would look there. But there is, if you want some, and I would say they're a little bit larger chunks possibly, but there's some on Amazon too. You don't get much, and it's probably kind of expensive for what you're getting. But if you don't have a Hobby Lobby nearby or don't want to mess with Etsy, Amazon does have it too. So there's lots of links down in the description below. So, all right, let's switch to, not that one, switch to this camera and let's get some turning going on. And let me know in the comments. It seems like, so oh, there I am. I got my phone open here so I can see the chat. Let me know in the comments if the dust collector noise is like super loud. I switched microphones not too long ago, and it seemed like the old one didn't really pick up the noise that much. And I don't know if it's the microphone or the settings that I have in the software. I don't know what's going on, but it seems like it's louder. So let me know if that's the case. And we will try to solve that problem. Because I do want my dust collector going, but if it's going to be just absolutely horrible to listen to, then I don't really like that idea. All right, so I'm going to use my Easy Wood Tools Mini Finisher. This is the tool that I use for just about everything. It works great. I think the two tools that, like if I had to pick two tools, carbide tools, and this kind of depends on the types of turnings that you're going to be doing, but I would say the Mini Finisher is the one that I would pick up first. I mean, it can handle so many different types of things. So it's got the round cutter, and it's got kind of a, you know, they call it mini, but I mean, this is a reasonably decent size handle for kind of your smaller stuff, pens, and I mean, you can turn bowls with this, no problem. So, you know, but once you get up to like fairly large things, depending on what you're doing, you may want to get a bigger tool. But the other one that I really recommend, especially if you do any hollowing or if you're doing spheres or large resin blanks, is the mini, or the number one hollower. Is surprisingly a good tool to use on. I like it actually on like larger projects, because you have a smaller cut that it's taking. And so you can get in there and hollow stuff, but you can also, it works really well on things like spheres and kind of some of the larger blanks. So that's a good one to, those two are probably my two favorite Easy Wood tools. All right, so we got things rolling here. Yeah, the diamond ones are pretty cool, but you know, they don't, no, hey, if you turn, that doesn't matter how old you are. I would probably agree. I don't really use the square ones too much. It kind of depends. Now, if you're doing wood turning, if you're turning wood, things are a little bit different. The square ones can be pretty useful. But I find the round ones, I mean, like if you're going to pick one tool, this is the one I would pick. If your budget, you know, really you're just getting into it, you can do so much stuff with this round one that it's pretty sweet. So let me turn on the dust collector. Let me know if this is way too loud. Because I've been editing videos, I edit these things down and I'm like, geez, I can't even do much about it. You know, the noise is so loud that I just have to turn it off basically. So I'm up close to it. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, the new parting tool is really good. I actually specifically asked them to send me the new one. The old one I hated. I really did not like the old version of this. This thing though, it's got a negative rake on it a little bit, and this thing is really good. I like it a lot. It just, I find like, especially if you don't have a grinder set up, then that parting tool is awesome, especially. Noise level's okay. Okay, that's good. MIDI set, yeah. Size down? Should be a little bit longer. I think the medium size, the mid size is this one. This one's mini. The red one, this is the one that I was recommending, the red. I don't know if, how does that work? I guess red just indicates round. Orange is square, but anyway, you can see they're a little, the mid size is this orange one. And they're good. It's a good one too, but I just find I don't really need a whole lot of length on most of these things. All right, so let's quit yapping and go for it. So originally I had this thing pretty well, I don't know, it was a lot more, less wobble. And then when I had to re-drill it, something kind of funky happened, and so now it's pretty well out of round. But whatever, we're just gonna keep going. Just make sure I got this thing good to go. And one thing I do want to mention, so the universal mandrel is really nice because you can swap out the bushings. And so for a bottle stopper, I would use the 3/4 inch one. But I don't know what size exactly it is. Maybe like a 1 inch or something like that. I can measure it. The pizza cutter is a little bit different where it meets. Where are we at here? Trying to see this thing. I don't know. It's almost an inch. A little bit below an inch. So you can swap out the little bushing collars on the mandrel, and that tells me how far to turn this down. This side is where the blank is going to meet the pizza cutter wheel, or whatever, pizza cutter body. So is anybody doing anything cool for Memorial Day weekend? My wife left town, so I'm playing Bachelor this weekend. Not a lot planned. Kind of going a little bit slower on this because it's wobbling pretty decent, especially on this end. So I'm just kind of taking my time. It's turning quite well so far. Didn't really think it wouldn't turn well. There's no reason to think it wouldn't. But oh, micro. Oh, cool. That's cool. I'm glad the sound's not too bad. I actually lowered, I can kind of adjust the sound a little bit by opening more holes, you know, like more vents in different spots, so maybe that'll even be a little bit lower. Because I have the whole ductwork system plumbed throughout the shop. It's all connected, and so that was actually one of the things when I installed this system with Oneida. They were like, well, you can kind of adjust, different levels by opening different ports on the system. It can kind of adjust different things, like sound levels. One. And I got this thing going. I'm only going about 1,500 RPMs right now. You don't really need to wind it out, especially when it's bouncing around like this. All right, so let's stop and see what we got going on here. Oh, the cholla is poking through a little bit. That's the one thing about, you know, casting the size cholla that I did. You got to kind of watch out. You want to make sure that you're going to see it in the blank, you know what I mean? And so it might have been like a 1-inch PVC pipe would have probably worked better, but you know, I wanted to do a 1.5. So just to let you know, the nice thing is it was kind of a lot of these cholla pieces were kind of on the sides of the tubes. So, you know, this side is going to be, let's see. Well, I guess these things are pretty big because this is the opposite side. You can see a little bit poking through here. So just kind of be aware of that, how much, you know, what is the final diameter of your handle or whatever you're making going to be, and how does that cholla fit? These things were close, you know, but to get the most view, you really want to get that cholla as far out to the edge as possible so you can see it poking through. We got a ways to go though. This thing doesn't need to be a gigantic, you know, 1.5-inch handle. So it'll probably end up being, you know, down to about 1 inch to 1.25 by the time we're done. And I can even kind of embellish a little bit, bring in some little curves, some coves into this if I want to. And we'll get a little bit of extra cholla poking through there. Should be kind of cool. Let's drop this thing down just a little bit. Whoa, pretty zoomed in there, aren't we? There we go. Yeah, I really do like the colors. These things are pretty cool. I'm telling you, Seahawks fan would love this pizza cutter handle. Be like, go Hawks! I'd have to give this to my buddy Michael Barr, the big Seahawks fan. Although, we kind of need a new pizza cutter too, so. We have one, but it's like the Woodcraft kit, and I really don't like it. It's not awesome. The coin ninja's here. What's up? And Rich too. Some odd background noises. What? There we go. Look at that. Woo! We almost have it trued up down here. Let's keep going here and try and get this thing. I have my dust collector going, Rich. Is that the background noise that you're talking about? Now the nice thing is I don't need to keep this handle as long as it is. And this end is further out of whack, I think, than the other end. I think I'm going to end up having to kind of turn this side further away from the spindle we go, the skinnier it needs to get, which is kind of the opposite of how I want this handle to be, but I don't need to keep it the full length. I'm just going to get it nice and true, and then we'll part it off. All right, I think we got everything trued up now, pretty close. Get off of there. Wow, yeah, the colors turned out pretty good. Definitely looking pretty good. So we got everything round at this point. The further in we go, the more that cholla is gonna pop out. I'm excited. Sounds like something underwater. Well, here, let me turn it off and see if it goes away. Now what? Now do you hear it? It is kind of loud. I asked at the beginning if it was too much. Metallic. No. This is the green, blue, and silver one. The metallic black, unfortunately, I kind of remember I forgot to add the metallic black. Metallic black is, it does look pretty sweet though. I wish I would have added more of it, but here's some of the metallic black. Kind of forgot that I had it in that giant cup. Oopsie. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's tough because I don't really want to have to wear a mask, and since I paid $12,000 for my dust collection system, I want to run it. If it's too loud, that's one thing. If it just kind of sounds funky, eh. As long as you can hear what I'm saying a little bit, it's not like the wood turning sounds are that exciting. Turn it up a little bit and start getting to the 2000 mark. Yeah, it might have to do with some of the filters. Actually, let me try something. Let me do something real quick. There's some like software filters that I can apply. I'm wondering if it's, let's turn off the noise suppression. All right, so I turned the noise suppression off. Does that make a difference? I don't know if that's gonna, just a couple whiners. I don't know. Eventually I'm going to change my live streaming system altogether. I bought a Mac Studio. And I'm not sure which direction I'm going to go with streaming software yet. So, but I'll be able to kind of set things up. The problem is I set this all up like so long ago that sometimes that I don't really know how to, you know, how to fix it. Exactly. It's gonna take some time. And setting up a new system, I've had the Mac Studio for months, and I'm just like, I don't really want to have to change anything. It does. Huh, that's funny. Yeah, white. It should sound like kind of white noise. That's what the dust collector's doing. It's funny because I was trying to make it more quiet, and it made it sound like a toilet. Carl's here. How's it going? Yeah, I love this thing works really well, the dust collector system. I was really blown away. I really like, because I've been saying forever, like collecting dust at a lathe is just kind of pointless. And there's still a bunch of chips, you know. And actually, Alex was asking about dust collectors. He was saying he didn't, you know, he wanted to try and find something where he wouldn't have a pile of chips. Well, I got a dust collector and I still got a pile of chips. Like, you're just not going to get away from having to clean up, you know, a bunch of stuff at the lathe. But what I really like about this system, though, is it really does do a pretty good job on the fine stuff, and that's really the biggest problem, you know, with wood turning. You know, and I have the air filter as well going, the Stratus, but I have moved that across the shop. It's still picking up the ambient stuff, but it would be a little bit louder probably. Sorry, I'm trying to get like an overhead shot for you guys. It would probably be a little bit louder than I have this going right now, so I just kept it on the other side of the room. So I just want to start taking down material and see what the cholla looks like. That'll help kind of dictate what I do. I mean, I'm not going to get crazy with a bunch of shaping on this handle, but I would generally like to leave it wider, you know, as wide as possible, just because it's easier to hold in the hand then. Okay, let's stop and see what the cholla is looking like now. Ah, we got more poking through. Look at that. That's pretty cool looking. So we got some over there. That's about it, I guess. It's kind of wrapping around. Got a little bit poking out there. I don't think, we're probably not going to get a whole lot in this area, I don't think. But we do have some more to take off, so. Is anybody doing any turning projects this weekend? Or resin casting? Although on the other hand, I just thought of a really cool idea. We could make it look like an easy wood tool handle. Come out and then do a little insert thing. That might be kind of fun. I might do that. Linen closet. Oh, that's no fun. Well, good luck with that. Hopefully it'll get over with sooner than later. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is just put a slight cove right here. Kind of mirror how the easy wood tool handle looks. Four handles, nice. What kind of handles are you going to be? What kind of like things are they going to be handles for? That's looking kind of cool. I'm digging this so far. Let's see, so I need to come down here quite a bit. So again, I'm going to zoom out a little bit maybe. That's the wrong way. All right, so I'm going to kind of mirror this a little bit. Just trying to make a little bit of a cove. It's not going to, I mean, it's really not going to look exactly like it, but just do a little bit of a cove, and then we'll kind of do a little bump in and then a little extra, just in case you need a little extra leverage while you're cutting your pizza. What's Lily up to? Pen or two, nice. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When it's hot, not very fun. Carl's doing some pens, nice. Oh, clay sculpting tools, that's cool. I always like when you can make, you know, like some of these kits and pizza cutters and things, like they're fun and they're good for gifts and they're useful, but how many bottle stoppers do you really need, right? So it's pretty fun when you can make like tool handles. I always really like that. All right, I like that. It's not exactly like this Easy Wood tool thing, but woodworking files, that'd be cool too, yeah. Handles are such an easy project, you know. It's not too, there's not a lot going on with it, you know. It's pretty simple, easy, like quick to knock out, I guess is what I'm kind of trying to say here. Which makes it kind of nice. Need to come down quite a bit on this end. I don't know how well this pizza cutter is going to work, but it's going to look neat. That's for sure. All right. Easy wood pizza cutter. I don't know. Well, that's cool, Eli. Yeah, so sometimes it takes a little bit of, you know, we can talk. This is the reason why I kind of always say things depend on how you pour, your conditions and all that stuff. Everybody wants like a simple answer on color swirl, but you still have to kind of try a few things. And so I think the best way to find, you know, the best way that works for you is to, that's interesting, is to do some different things, you know, try totally different things off the bat and see which one you get the best results from. I also think you learn the most that way if you're doing radically different things. You see what things cause what things. I guess, I don't know. You know, when you do certain things, what does that actually end up doing? I think we're starting to look pretty good here. The one thing I'm not sure about is the cholla kind of ends right here, and I don't know if I like the look of that. Because I could cut it off, I could like round it over right here instead, and I think that would actually look better. So it's not just this weird flat edge, but it would kind of, you know, kind of kills the design a little bit. So I think I'm going to leave it this long. I kind of like that, but I don't love that the cholla kind of ended right there. I don't know. Hey, what's up, Jack? Nope, we did not stabilize it. We just dried it out. I don't think there's a whole lot of advantage to stabilizing cholla. It's a lot of time, you know, that you got to spend doing it, and I just don't really think, I mean, this is turning fine, obviously. So, if you wanted to dye stabilize it and, you know, add some color in there, that's one thing. But if you're just going for the kind of plain look, I don't really think there's a whole lot of advantage to it. Okay, so let's, what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to just douse this because it isn't stabilized. I'm going to douse it with a little bit of the super thin. This is kind of like your alternative sealing, stabilizing, you know, method. A lot of times you can just douse it with something like one of the super thin CA glues, and you're going to get pretty much the same effect. You know what I mean? So let me blow that off real quick. Turn this down, and I'm just gonna I'm not putting a finish on, I'm really just sealing the cholla, letting it kind of soak up that thin CA glue. A little bit. Wow, look at those sparkles. Thing's gonna be pretty cool. Looks like I need a little bit more down on this end. Let me get up another paper towel here. Just be a little careful. You don't want to glue your handle to the to the mandrel, you know. Get my tool rest out of the way there. While we're here, why not? We'll add a little bit more. All right, let's see here. What driver center? This is the universal mandrel from Stainless Bottle Stoppers. They have the replace like switchable bushings for your like project kits. I really love that mandrel. It's awesome. So you got, you know, depending. This is like almost like just below an inch, or maybe about an inch diameter. The bottle stoppers use the 3/4, and they even came out with some Delrin bushings. And I don't want to take this off, but these things slide on and off, and you can do different project kits with it. And then this is just the Easy Wood Tools. Can you see that? No. This is just the Easy Wood Tools Live Center. It's a good one. It's got the threads on it so you can put attachments and things. Runs great. So simple setup, nothing spectacular going on there. All right, so that's been sitting for a while. I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit of you know, the accelerator, just to make sure everything's totally cured up before I start messing around with this. I'm gonna sand it up. I think I'm done turning. I don't really think I need to do any more turning on this thing. So I don't need my tool rest, obviously. So we're gonna start with, I'm gonna try 180 grit because it's not exactly perfectly flat. So we'll do a little bit more sanding than for like a pen. Usually I try to start on pens as high as possible. You know, if you can start at like 400 grit, it's just, things are a lot easier then. Tighten that up. I'm gonna go backwards. So I got 180 grit here. I have links to, I don't have a link to this, I guess, but I think it's on Turner's Warehouse website. I have links to the mandrel, sandpaper, what else? The pizza cutter kit. So a lot of the stuff, the CA glues that I'm going to use today, all that stuff. I tried to include everything I could think of. The universal mandrel? Is that what you, that kit? Is that what you mean? Yeah, they came out with the little well, yeah, I think they have a whole kit for everything, and they come with all the stuff. And like I said, I spoke to him about the Delrin thing, asked them to create these things. Now they only, as far as I know, they only have the 3/4 inch, but that's fine. The problem I was having was I would sometimes use UV finish, and that stuff, once it cures, once you hit it with the UV light, like, it's cured. There's no, you know, with CA glue, you can just hit something with acetone and it comes off, like, you know, like the bushings and stuff. You can just soak it in acetone and it's going to dissolve CA glue. That's not the case with UV resins. So I thought, you know, if they could make a non-stick bushing for finishing applications, why not, you know? So they did. And I could use UV finish on this, but I think I'm just probably going to give it a CA finish. UV might be a little bit easier, but it's going to take longer, so you got to let it cure between coats. So I think we'll just go with the tried and true. I think the 180 grit's working reasonably well. I know I'm kind of sanding off, you know, what I applied with that CA glue, but that stuff is so thin that it should have penetrated in a little bit further than just the surface. That was my hope anyway. And we are going to put a finish on it anyway, so if it didn't, if I'm sanding it all off, then whatever. We'll put more on. Oh, is it zoomed way out? Sorry. You gotta have one of these? One of the universal things, or a handle, or what are we talking about here? It's going about 500. Somewhere between like 3 and 6 is usually what I sand at. You don't really want to go too fast. The faster you go, there's a couple things that actually can happen. Is if it's going too fast, the sandpaper can actually kind of bounce. Even though you're pressing down, it can kind of like bounce off the surface, and you're not really getting the whole thing sanded. But the other thing is heat and build up. You know, you don't want to build up a bunch of heat and then also build up too much stuff on your sandpaper to where it's like clogging it, coating it and clogging it. Ah, the pizza cutter, yeah. I can't guarantee that this thing is going to be a very good pizza cutter, though. That's the only issue with going a little bit weird on handles and shaping and stuff. Sometimes the utility goes away. But we'll see. I don't know. It looks kind of fun. I mean, at least you can just show it off, you know. Are you a Seahawks fan? I'm just curious, because this is pretty much like dead on. Like it's made for a Seahawks fan. All right, so looks like we got things going on pretty well. There's a little bit more there. I can still see some like kind of tool marks that I haven't gotten, so I'm just going to give it a little bit more time on these curves. Yeah, sometimes you're like, I don't care if it cuts pizza. It looks amazing. It's kind of where we're at with the one that we have. We have one and it just really sucks at cutting pizza. So I don't know. Maybe this one will be better. I'm not sure. I don't know if we're going to actually keep it or not. I have been toying with the idea of doing more giveaways. One for patrons. That was one idea, is to do like I don't know, maybe like a monthly giveaway. I don't usually give away, I don't really think about it, but I don't usually give away things that I make. It's like blanks, because I figure you guys can probably make it, was always my thinking. But I don't know, maybe you guys would be interested in that. The other thing is charity. Thinking about maybe starting to do some more like charity auctions for things that I make, because I don't really sell a lot of the stuff that I make on the show. Sometimes if people are just screaming at me that they want it, then okay. You know, but a lot of the stuff just kind of sits on the desk over there. It's kind of nice because I can pull it out and show examples of things, but You can only have so many things sitting around in your shop. Okay, so I think that's looking pretty good now. Yeah. I think we can move up to 240 grit now. The first grit is usually kind of the most important. You want to make sure that you get all your tool marks out on that first round, you know, because if you don't really do a very good job on the first grit, then everything else from there just kind of suffers. It may look like it's good, but then you get to the like final polish and then you see like weird tool marks and scratches and stuff, and you're like, whoops, I didn't do that very well. So we're gonna hit this with some denatured alcohol real quick, just to kind of clean off. That's the other secret or trick. You really want to clean off. I'm finding that it really makes a difference when you clean the surface off, and just make sure that you've gotten, you know, any debris or grit particles from the previous grit off of there. I find when you get to the end, you just don't have as many like random scratches that you didn't see. So that thing's looking pretty sweet though. Let me get you guys a front view here. Try and get this thing set up right. I mean, I'm always a little bit worried when I pour PVC pipe blanks, because you have no clue what's really going on in there. Especially with these ones, I poured them in white pipes, and you're like, I don't know. Hopefully it turned out good, but wow, that turned out really good, if I do say so myself. Got some good swirling going on. Hopefully all the other blanks are like that. That's just 180 grit sanded. Wow. We got a lot more to go. You always get your hand in the pizza? All right, so I'm gonna do a little bit of the lengthwise sanding real quick. This is the other like real tip trick to getting your resin projects sanded well. It just really helps if you do two different directions of sanding, I think. It's the easiest way to ensure that you get all the previous grit scratches out, because if there are no radial scratches going around it, then you know for sure that you've gotten all the 180 grit scratches out, you know? It's just tedious. That's the problem, you know? So you got to kind of maybe choose your battles in some cases as to when is it really that important? When do you need to absolutely make sure? I think I'll spend the time on this one. I always get my hand in the pizza too, but it's usually just because I'm grabbing pieces instead of cutting. I'm like, oh, give me the pizza. I love pizza. I could just about eat pizza every day. Obviously, I can't. I would weigh 700 pounds, but I probably could. Now I try to limit my pizza intake and make it special. That's not to say I don't gouge myself with pizza when we do decide. Just never been a big fan of like, oh, I'll just have one piece. No, that ain't happening. I'll have one pie, maybe. Okay, so I'm doing a pretty diligent job here. So you can see there's little scratches here and there. I can definitely see them, so. It's not to say you're not gonna get it out by sanding with the lathe on, but what can also happen is it can kind of, the 240 grit can kind of just fall into that 180 grit scratch, you know, when you're sanding like the same direction. And so this just guarantees like you've gotten that scratch out. The hardest part is on curves and things, especially like sharp curves. That's where it's really hard to get things really sanded up perfectly. So I have a little bit of news. I haven't gotten them yet, but Nikki is working on the 3D print models, files, new ones for us. She's a CAD designer. She's one of my patrons, and she's going to be dropping. She's been working on some for the 4th of July, so I'm excited to see what she came up with. But we should be dropping a 4th of July type thing, and I'll be doing casting them and then turning on the stream. But we should have some more 3D print files coming soon, and then we'll have to kind of work on, Nikki and I'll have to kind of talk about what we're like thinking for timing. But we're kind of, as long as she can do it, it'll be up to her schedule a little bit, but we're thinking like maybe drop one like every month. We got all kinds of different types of ideas. I do, and then I'm sure she does too. She will come up with some cool stuff. So we got some exciting stuff going on with the 3D printing. I kind of had to take a little bit of a break. I got kind of busy with orders and just behind basically overall. So I haven't really been doing a whole lot of printing lately, but I've also been just kind of waiting for her to be ready. She just got married, so we had to kind of wait until that was over with for sure. And then she would be ready to kind of start working on these things. So I'm excited to see what we got coming down the pipeline. Just really glad that there's someone out there, and she does 3D printing. She knows exactly what's going on with all this stuff. It was perfect. I'm just excited to have help with this, because I struggled trying to get the ones that I made. I mean, it took me forever to make these models, and I was like, this is just not sustainable. And there was a lot of things that I wanted to do that I knew that I just couldn't do, because what I've done so far was pretty simple. And it took me a long time to figure all that stuff out for simple designs. So we're going to be hopefully a good team together. Oh, thanks, Rich. Yeah, no, Nikki's got everything covered, I think. She's a she's CAD designer by trade. Going to kind of inspect this real quick and make sure I didn't miss any obvious scratches. That looks pretty good. I think we can move on. First, we're going to wipe it off with some denatured alcohol. Like I said, every grit change, I really do think that you want to wipe it off with something. Denatured alcohol doesn't really interact so much with a lot of like the woods. It dries pretty quick and all that. So that's why I go with it. I mean, water would work. You know, in this case, I wouldn't really want to douse the cholla with water, but if it's just a resin blank, then you could use water. That would be fine. You don't need to use alcohol. You know, it's just, it dries really quick. That's one of the main reasons I use that. Probably wouldn't recommend acetone. It just interacts a little bit more with things and harsher. This is turning out pretty good. Okay, so we did this, the lengthwise, I guess. Now we're gonna do round. And at this point, all we're doing is trying to take out the 240 grit scratches, you know. Make everything 400. Mark's here, what's up? Now we don't, you know, we want to make sure that there's no lengthwise scratches. We want them to be all radial. So I'm just kind of wiping this off. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see, you know. Actually, it's looking pretty good. I think we're doing pretty good. I'm just going to give it a few more minutes here. All right, you know, a few more passes. I think we'll be at 400 grit. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. Hampton Wood Turnings is here. How's it going? Okay, and then again, wipe it off. Denatured alcohol. Now you could go to 600. That's probably a safe bet. What I like to do a lot of times is I have a 500 grit pad, if I can find it somewhere. Where's that thing? Sometimes it falls on the floor. Oh, there it is. And this just allows me to kind of get into curves and stuff, and I don't know. I don't know if it's that big of a difference between just 400 and 500, but a lot of times I'll just kind of hit it with that. Kind of quickly, lightly, just to kind of take out any, you know, if I kind of pushed a little hard and got a little bit slightly deeper scratch with that 400 somewhere. But because it's spongy, you know, I'm not really pushing that hard or anything. So that's, I don't know. That's just what I do sometimes. Probably would be fine with 400, but the next step is we're gonna put a CA finish on. And so you don't really want to go too high before you put a finish on anyway. 400 maybe a little bit on the low side. That's why 600 is a safe bet, I think. I don't really think you need to go much higher than that though, if you're going to be putting like a CA finish on next. Don't really think it's doing anything for you. except wasting some time. Okay. That is looking pretty sweet. Wow. There we go. Look at that. I really love how it kind of curves around, the way that Cholla turned out. And I didn't cherry pick blanks. I had no clue what was going on the inside. I just grabbed one. So I'm hoping that they all look like that. I mean, this was what I had to go by. For anybody that didn't see the blanks, I'm gonna go do it on the other screen real quick. Or the other camera, the overhead. I mean, you don't really have a whole lot to go by, you know? Like, I just kind of picked one. That's what we got for our results. Keep dropping these things. So we got a couple more of those left, and then these ones look really cool. Got a lot of colors in there. And so, like I said earlier, I'm gonna make 5 more. And these guys are going to go into the mystery box blank, mystery box boxes for folks. And I'll probably just come up. I got to tie my shoe real quick. Tripping over my laces. I'll probably come up with, you know, like, yeah, probably one more mix. I'll probably come up with my own mix of colors for those other 5. So you never know which one you're gonna get. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. So now let's see here. Again, first thing I'm gonna do is just hit this real quick with the super fast thin. I think I'm gonna turn the dust collector off. I know you guys don't necessarily like it, but it's loud in my ears, you know. I feel like I'm yelling too. So let me get some more paper towels. And again, I'm just gonna hit it with the super fast thin real quick. And then what I'm hoping to do is seal the wood a little bit, seal the Cholla. We already did that once. I'm gonna switch back to this direction. Just make sure that that's nice and sealed up. The super thin stuff penetrates a little bit further than the mercury finish CA that I use, the what is it called? The Thin Flex. That stuff's a little bit thicker. It's just not going to penetrate into the wood the same way. Let's get you guys zoomed in for when I stop this. Oh! That actually went on really good. I think it's still wet though. Always looks better when it's still wet. Man, that midnight blue sparkly stuff just really adds a lot to this. And I'm happy that we got it to kind of stay separated, you know. Sometimes the glitter particles can kind of blend, you know, with other colors and stuff pretty easy. So you know, if you want to see how these were poured, I think I'm going to go back and watch it because I'm like, dang, this is one of the best PVC pipe pours I've done in a while. The live stream is up from on Wednesday. And I just use the kind of back of my fingers. There's less oils on the backs of your fingers. So that's why I kind of, test to see if the CA's kind of cured up. It's still a little bit tacky, so I'll take a drink break, water break. Yeah, so the midnight blue, this stuff is what they call metallic flake. So if you look for a place that sells, there's some of the like mica powder, a lot of mica powders are all the same thing. But a lot of the auto painting places that you can, you can like, you're buying mica powder. It's the same stuff, but they also sometimes sell metal flake. And so that's what this is. It's basically just glitter. It's not metal. It just it looks metallic, I think, is where they get that metal flake. But it's pretty much just glitter. And you could probably just use glitter if you find if you shop for a glitter place and can find like a kind of a finer speck of that in midnight blue. It's all the same stuff basically. They may just make it sound like it's more spectacular because they're sometimes if you say that it's for car painting, then oh man, that must be expensive. It's just mica powder. Okay, I think that's good. So now what we're gonna do, I think I might try and do just basically the same type of application. Just kind of douse it with the thin flex. So I like to use the super fast thin. So this is the Star Bond super fast thin. That's way zoomed in. I like this stuff for sealing things. It's like a utility. I like it for gluing things together. That's what I use this for. Sealing wood or kind of stabilizing things, that kind of thing. I like personally, and this, I'm not saying that you need to use this. It's just it works well for the way that I apply things. And I like the clarity of it and everything, but the Mercury Thin Flex, this is what I use for finishes, CA finishes. And I guess I kind of need to do like turn the end of that, but I think I'd rather just get the finish on while it's between centers, and then we can kind of work on this end. I find that that's really easy to just add a few coats of CA glue at the end. You don't really need to put a lot of effort into it. But so that's what I use. I got these things linked up down in the description. Like I said, people use 1,000 different methods and glues and all that kind of stuff. I think that with CA finishes, it really just depends on, you got to try a few out and see what you like, because some of it has to do with how like thick it is, the viscosity, and how long it stays open, and a variety of factors, and how you apply it. That kind of tells me, that's why you have some people like a specific brand over other ones. Will these handles be, no, I'm not going to sell these. These are just going in the mystery boxes for people that are subscribers to that. I don't make these kind of blanks. I just make pen blanks for sale on my website. I don't really do custom orders like that. I got the metallic flake from a place called paintwithpearl.com, I think is where I got it. All right, so let's see here. I might be kind of right in the way. Yeah. Let's move the camera, because I think I'm just going to be like right in the way of this stuff. So let's try and get it on the other side, maybe. Zoom out a little bit. There we go. Move this thing out of the way too. All right, so let's see if we can do this here. Let me look at my viewfinder. Yeah, there we go. We got the angle now. And the key with CA finishes is to get on and get off. Don't sit there and rub it around and do all that stuff. You'll just keep adding more ridges in it. I might have poured a little bit much on that one. But longer, bigger things are a little bit harder to apply, I find. I'm just way better at short pens. I can get it on really smooth and everything goes quite well with those. Sometimes these longer things can get a little bit, especially in bumpy things, can be a little bit more challenging to get it on smooth. So we'll have to kind of see how I did. Oh, you don't turn, Dottie? That's cool. And with the thin flex, you want to use, like the directions say to use the accelerator. I know some people, depending on the brand you use and all that, are very like, oh my God, don't use accelerator. This stuff is made to be, you want to use it. It doesn't cure on its own as well. So it's developed to be used with an accelerator. And I recommend, use the mercury accelerator. It's formulated to work with it. It's a little bit on the less aggressive side. I think some accelerators can kind of make CA glues kind of foam up a little bit. Wow, that looks pretty darn good. I might press my luck and put one more. I don't think I want to put a whole lot of coats on this thing. I don't know. The more coats I put on, the more sanding I'm probably going to have to do. So we'll have to see, but dust on my fingers. I should probably blow that off a little bit. You don't want dust in your in your finish. Jeez. What am I doing? Usually I would put like 8 coats on. This is the tough thing. When you get into longer, bigger things, CA finishes become a little bit more difficult to do. The alternative, what I probably would have done if I was just doing this on my own, is gone with the UV finish. I'm finding that for medium size kind of projects like this, the Illuma UV works really well. But the way I don't apply it the same way. I actually use a decent, slightly decent paintbrush and paint it on. Then you get it on like perfect. There's no bubbles, and this has like unlimited working time. So you can kind of paint it on. I just usually kind of dip it in the cup and just kind of and I don't turn the thing on and just use the brush. I literally paint the finish on, stroke by stroke. And then, once it's, looking perfect, then you hit it with the UV light. And that's a pretty good way to go. But the problem is you usually can't really, a lot of times you can't get away with just one coat. It's almost perfect, but you have to let that stuff sit and cure, with sunlight, UV light. So it ends up taking longer than a CA finish in the end, because I'd have to put it under a UV light or take it outside somehow. And you want to, make sure that you're getting all sides. So for a turning, it makes the most sense to have something where it's, turning it to if you put it outside. Right now it's cloudy, so there's just issues with UV finishes sometimes. But overall, I think that it's almost an easier way to go for something like this. Just takes a little bit longer. It might be a little easier to get like an excellent result, let's say. That's kind of what I'm trying to say with it. All right, so let's try this again. When I'm doing pens, I usually just apply the CA finish to the rag, but there's not going to be enough, right? So I'm just going to kind of douse it. And that's another reason why I'm going to put on probably like less coats, because I don't think that I need to. I'm putting a lot more on per coat. So I just don't know that I need to put a ton of coats on. I would usually put like 8 coats on a pen. But the fewer coats that you put on, the more chance you have of sanding through it. So we still do need to, finish the finish, let's say, polish it up. And then there's other, you could go with like an epoxy finish on this if you wanted, or like a polyurethane type thing, or just spray lacquer it. That's probably the easiest way to do something like this, is just grab a can of spray lacquer. I don't really like spraying lacquer in my shop though. We can't really, it just kind of lingers, and I don't like getting lacquer all over everything in my lathe. So lots of different ways to finish stuff. You just got to pick the one that works for you. I'm anxious. I just want to, this thing's looking so awesome. I want to finish it right now. I get to the point on things where this looks really, really good, you know, and I'm like, oh, I hope I don't screw it up. That one more cut thing, you know. Have you guys ever done that? You're like, oh, I'm just going to take one more cut, and then you screw the whole thing up. That's the worst. All right, let that kind of set up a little bit there. This is the slow part of the stream. It's like watching paint dry, literally. Okay, that's good. Let's try 4 coats. Let's see if I can do that. I'm always, like I said, I'm worried that I'm going to just screw stuff up, but let's try and do 4 coats here. One thing I want to do is try and clean off my CA glue bottle. The tip's kind of crusty. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm just going to try and, because I'm kind of hitting the blank with it. It'd be a lot nicer if it was just plastic rather than CA glue chunks. One of the problems with applying it like I'm doing, where you're just dousing it, is you end up kind of getting the glue bottle all junked up. That's okay though. Been a long time since I cleaned that thing off, I think. Okay, new paper towel. Yeah, the finishing script, yep. I know, I'm telling you, I've done it a million times too. You just can't resist. You're like, oh, just one more. It's gonna be perfect, or nope. Oh. There we go, that wasn't too bad. Always worried. Don't want to screw things up, you know? Yeah, the bottom of the bowl is the worst. Yeah, the lampshade funnel club. I was making a lampshade. And I'm going to end up sanding this pretty much right away, but you know, I'd recommend, like, I think the best thing to do is actually walk away for like 20 to 30 minutes before you start sanding. I think you're just going to get better results if you can do that. Obviously, I don't want to wait 30 minutes on the live stream. And you can get, you know, if you're in a rush, like I kind of am, you can sand right away, but I think you're going to get better results if you let that CA finish kind of harden a little bit more before you start sanding it and polishing it. Luckily, CA glue is amazing stuff, and it you know, I mean, I finish projects with no problems doing it right away. You know, it can really truly look fabulous. It's not going to screw things up, but I think you're going to get the best results possible by giving it a little time, even maybe just like 10 to 15 minutes. You know, just compared to me doing it like right away, I think you're going to find that you'll get a little bit better results. So I'm getting it on pretty evenly. You know, there's not a bunch of ridges. I think we are going to have to do a little bit of sanding, but it's looking fine. I'm not unhappy or anything like that. I renew my membership, yeah. I know. Every once in a while, for some reason, my speed LED light thing on my lathe like goes out. It's kind of weird. I had a problem. I got some HDPE shavings stuck in my headstock bearing, spindle bearing. Is that what that is? Whatever. And so I had to get my well, they just basically sent me a new headstock, and I don't like this new headstock as much. The other one worked. Everything was great about it. This thing makes some weird noises and stuff, but my bearing's fine. I'm like, why didn't you just send me a bearing? Probably because I probably couldn't have gotten it out, but I don't know, you know. Sometimes that happens. I'm going to give it just a few seconds here. Overall, though, I've been pretty happy with this lathe. I mean, there's really, I can't think of one thing that I'm like, well, it kind of sucks at this, or like I don't like this. The one thing that I will say, and this just isn't typical, because I bought one of the Nova, the Galaxy, and the one thing that I liked about that, I didn't like anything else about it, but the one thing I did like is that you could tilt the headstock. I really liked that. That was cool. And I like the DVR motor thing, but kind of wish you could tilt the headstock. That was a pretty neat feature. Although it's also kind of a pain, because then if you do tilt it, then you gotta like reset it, make sure it's not off kilter. But everything else I really like about this thing. Oh, I think I might have stayed on it a little too long there. We'll have to see. Oh, it's not too bad. Okay, I think I'm going to try and sand this and hope I don't sand through. I put on 4 coats, I think. I'm just going to try and sand lightly. Usually what I do is for a CA finish, like on a pen, I'm going to sand with 400 grit. I think in this case, because I'm really worried about sanding through, I think what I'm going to do is grab this 500 pad and just try and knock out any ridge mark, you know, because there's little fine ridges in here where, you know, I'm applying it and there's kind of swirls. So I think what I'm going to do is try and just knock those down with the 500 with the pad, because it just, you can't press. It's not as like, I don't know, like a hard surface that you're putting it on. With the Abranet 400, I can push, like I can pinpoint force a little bit more, whereas with this pad, it's kind of more distributed and just lighter. So I think we'll do that, and then I just go through and do the wet sanding steps, and then we'll use some magic juice, I think, and we'll try that. I haven't done magic juice on something like a handle like this. I'm sure it'll work. Maybe a little bit more. You're kind of getting into, you know, this is almost like 6 inches. You're kind of getting to the point where it might just be more worth it to buff it, possibly. I don't know. We'll try the magic juice though. Let me see, where are we at here? Yeah, it's pretty dry. Just gonna turn that on. We're getting close, guys. I'm getting excited, and we do have to, you know, finish up the end. I think I might do that before I even like start wet sanding the whole thing. Just get it shaped and kind of sanded down, and yeah, I think that might be, I don't know, it's good to get something this long. It's good to have tailstock support, so we'll have to see. Maybe I'll get everything perfect and then just finish up the bottom. Okay, so we're doing a little bit of 500 here. Like I said, I'm just going to be kind of quick about it. And I don't want to take too much of this CA glue off. The nice thing is, if I don't like it, I can always just mount it back on the lathe and fix it. You know, it's not like we're stuck. Yeah, got a few swirl marks. I think we'll be okay. So I'm going to turn the dust collector back on because I just don't really want to breathe this stuff. Looking okay. I can see some ridges though. Just give it a little bit more. If you see shiny spots, that's a low spot. You can kind of just, if you've gotten most of the shiny spots out and there's just like one or two areas that are kind of shiny, you can kind of just come in and kind of spot sand in certain areas and try and knock down anything that's really low. That can kind of help a little bit. Maybe even go side to side. Just you want to make sure that you've gotten the surface as flat as possible. Otherwise, the light, it won't be as glossy if you don't get all this stuff out. The light's going to kind of reflect funny. You got a bunch of ridges in there. But again, one more pass, let me just get a little bit better. You don't want to sand through. So hopefully I haven't done that anywhere yet. I think I'm going to call that good, because we are going to be doing some more sanding when we wet sand it. So I'm just going to get it good enough. I'm gonna have to change my water out. Let's get I can turn this thing off now, which is nice. Wet sanding eliminates the need for dust collection. So that's nice. I should probably wet sand more. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of wipe this off a little bit with some water. Just to get any grit particles from the 500 that we just did off. Okay, good there. All right, so I'll be right back. You guys can watch that thing kind of spin. I gotta get some fresh water. Okay, so we're going to use the Zona papers. First one is about somewhere around 750 grit, I think. Somewhere in that neighborhood. This is just trying to bring up that gloss, get it to a high polish. All right, I'm gonna wipe this off and take a look, see how we're doing. I think we might be pretty good here with the 750, the green one. We'll do the gray Zona paper. It's about 1150. Yeah, that looks fine. I don't know. Kind of tough to tell, but I think that's looking pretty good. And again, links to this stuff also are in the description. And if there's anything that I missed, I mean, it doesn't have every single thing that I've ever used in my life, but if there's something that I've missed, then you can just head over to my website, resinworksstudio.com, and go to the tools I use page. That's also linked in the description though. And I have different categories of things, you know, resin casting supplies, turning supplies, other machines, and even the live streaming and video stuff that I use is linked there. So you can always check that out if you see something that I'm using and you're like, what is that? Chances are it should be up on one of those pages. And if you don't see anything anywhere, then just shoot me an email. There's a contact on my website, you know. Shoot me an email or shoot me a message or leave a comment in the video. I'll try and get you a link or tell you what I'm using. Okay, I'm thinking this is looking pretty good. You can kind of tell, you can see like reflections of light kind of change once you've gotten to a certain point with your different levels, different grits, when you're polishing anyway. So I think I'm going to call that good. Wipe this off and then we'll hit it with some magic juice. Let's see what we get. And I can't wait to see what this looks like. All polished up. Just leave that ShamWow down there so I don't get polish all over the place. Okay, so magic juice is also linked. This stuff is a plastic polish, basically. It's a 6-step plastic polish method. I think I'll zoom. Yeah, okay, so we're zoomed out pretty much. I'm going to move that cone. Just kind of, hopefully this will work. Just see what's going on. You just apply, you know, a little bit. It's going to be a little bit different than pens. I'm used to doing it with pens. But I just grab a paper towel, kind of tear off a square. Might have to do like a couple passes, like half and half type thing with this. I don't know. We'll have to just kind of see. So first step. And I want to turn this up to about 2000. That's what I usually do. Somewhere I like somewhere between 1500 and 2000. And actually, this is a little bit wider diameter than a pen, so I think I'm actually going to drop it down to 1500. I think that might work pretty well. Get my tool rest out of the way a little bit more. So step one, wow, it kind of leaked all over. I got a pretty decent little dollop. You know, I'm going to stop it, slow it down, you know. Yeah. I think we're going to have to do a couple passes with this. You just kind of keep going until the kind of friction stops. You'll kind of know. After a while, I like to kind of switch to just clean paper towel. So like I said, we're going to do 2 passes. We'll just get this first kind of bump and then we'll just do a little bit more on that second bump on its own. Okay, so just after step 1, I'm always amazed. I'll bring you guys around just a little bit to kind of just take a peek. This plastic polish, just step 1 is all we got on there now. It's already looking shiny. Wow. I mean, I could stop there and I'd be fine. Like, I'd be perfectly happy with that. That looks pretty good. So shiny and sparkly, but we got 5 more steps to go. It can get better than this. Yes. It can do it. Okay, so I'm going to put you guys back over here. Okay, so get another paper towel. Oh man, I think it's lunchtime. I'm getting hungry. Okay, so step 2. This stuff is working. I mean, I wasn't worried that it wasn't going to work. It's just, I don't know if you know, using this stuff is as economical as just going over to the buffing wheel, you know. But, I mean, I'm not using that much of it, really. I think we need to make t-shirts. The one more pass club. I just saw the chat and we were talking about that. One more pass club. Okay, so we've only done 2 steps and this thing is shining crazy. Let's do 3. I think the smart money is turning the lathe off completely on something like this. You can kind of get away with just kind of slowing it down and then restarting the lathe on the pens, but it's just a lot less messy if you just turn it off and kind of apply it manually. I could probably get this whole thing done on one pass, but yeah. We got a good system going here. Why mess it up? After I just said to turn it all the way off and apply it by hand. All right, so who's excited to see this thing? I can't wait to put the pizza cutter on it, man. It's gonna be fun. Okay. On to step 4. We're getting there. Takes a little bit of time, but I think it'll be worth it in the end. Did anybody see the Saturday morning cartoons today? I missed it. I didn't know what Jake made today. What did Jake get up to in there? All right, so step 4, number 2. Yeah, I missed it this morning. I was like, I like to go for, I started doing like a walk and kind of like a mobility type of little routine workout thing in the mornings, and it's really helping a ton with just, I don't know, if I can get out of bed and do that. So I kind of, and I don't get up that early anyway, but did that and kind of started plinking away on looking at emails, and then I was like, oh yeah, Saturday morning cartoons, and I was like, oh, I missed it. Shoot. Oh, nice. Some big ones, nice. Okay, so step 5. Come on, get out of there. Ah, bulb lengths of wood. Nice. That's cool. I love the Saturday. That's such a fun show. I love that one. I usually go back and watch, kind of skim through, but kind of watch what they did if I missed it. Of course, got to give it a like, too. Still got to round over the nubbin on the end, but for the most part, we're almost done here. All right, so step 6, and I got to be honest, I might start not doing step 6 because I don't really see a whole lot of difference. Oh, that thing blew up on me. Between 5 and 6, it just doesn't seem like it's like shinier ever. But it's kind of hard not to, you know. You got a morning routine. It just, man, it's just so much better. It's just simple. It's walking and some stretching and stuff like that, but it's just so much. You get going and you're limber, ready to go, you know. All right, so one more step 6. Let me, gotta get more paper towel. It's looking good. All right, I'm gonna bring you guys around for the big reveal. This thing is looking pretty good. This is gonna be the fanciest pizza cutter on the planet. Oh, there we go. I mean, wow. Oh, I gotta plug this camera in or else it's gonna die. Oops. Sorry guys, I'm messing with the camera trying to get the battery plugged in. Hold on. My battery cable is not working. Well, it's not good. All right, well, let me zoom you guys in so you can get a look at this, but I'm gonna have to fix this cable here. Wow. That is looking pretty darn good. Let me get you this angle here, if I can. Wow, I'm pretty excited about this thing. All right, so let me try to get a battery cable that actually works hooked up to this thing, because we got 3 minutes left. We're running out of time. I think the little connector thing on the end is just messed up. Or something. I don't know. Let's try this one here. Well, that's a problem. Dang, I think I might have to get another camera again. Trying to think if I got another alternative here, camera-wise. I don't really. Sorry guys, I apologize for the messing around, but I don't know what to do about this camera. It's going to die in a couple minutes. So let's get the end. We'll start working on that. I'll try and kind of keep my eye on the camera, but I can't get, it won't charge. I don't know. I'm plugging the cable in. Does it have to do with, hold on real quick. Let me try one thing real quick. Let me just try and plug it into the wall. But I think the problem is the connection with the, you know, like where the connector goes. I don't think it's working. It's like loose. Technical difficulties, always. If it's not sound, it's video. Oh. Well, that's weird. I think it was working. The red light's just not going on. Okay. I think we're okay, guys. Oh, man. I think we'll be okay. Now I got to plug everything back in again. Just want to see this thing finished. Oh yeah, okay. It's okay. I was flipping out about nothing. I would expect a little power red light to go on. You know? Okay. We're back. We're back in action. Yeah, it definitely keeps me on the toes. Yeah, it's, well, I will say though, the little, the connector thing in the camera is pretty loose and jacked up. I go through these. It's just hard when you're moving around, turning and doing all this stuff. These cameras just don't really love. Well, the camera works fine, but the connectors don't love that. Not at all. Okay, we're back in action. Let's turn this thing up here. Finish turning it up anyway. And again, this is one of those areas where it's not a bad idea to pull out if you have the number one hollower, just because you got a little bit less, it just seems to work. You know, if you got all the tools, then grab the one that works best for the situation. Okay, it looks like we're pretty much on center. Hopefully this thing won't wobble too much. Just kind of tighten it up a little bit. Yeah, it's a little wobbly. That's okay. We should be okay. Are you guys on the right? Am I? Yeah, okay. Are we on the right camera? What's happening? Because it's a little bit off balance, I think I'm probably not going to get too too crazy about all this. Just kind of get it decent, sand it up a little bit and move on. No one's even going to notice that the end isn't perfect, you know. I'm putting a little bit of an indentation because it already had a little bit of an indent. Oh. All right, I think that's as far as I'm willing to go. I don't want this thing flying off. Get it close enough, do a little bit of sanding. I think I'm gonna try and get away with sanding from 240 grit. You don't really need a whole lot, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna turn this thing on. I don't want to breathe sanding dust again. Oh, watch out. We got camera legs and things in the way. Move you guys over to here. Like I said, just doing a little bit of sanding here. I'm not that worried about the end. I think if I can just get this up to, you know, 400 grit, apply a few coats of CA, and I think I'm going to call it good, because we don't really, I don't think we need to go through all the steps of like finishing, you know, like magic juice and all, polishing the CA finish. I don't think it's really going to make that much difference. I just want to get it kind of, you know, sanded up a bit. And then, because the problem is it's wobbling around and doing stuff, and it's just not. I don't know that going through all those steps is really going to fix a whole lot. What I might do, we'll see. I think I will wet sand. Let's see. We'll have to see. I'll have to see what it looks like, basically. A lot of times the ends of handles, if you can just apply a few quick coats of CA, it looks fine, and you're kind of wasting your time sanding and polishing. All right, so we got it up to 400. I'm going to hit it with, and I'm not hitting it with alcohol either. You know, that's probably a no-no, but I think we'll be okay. All right. Now I'm going to hit it with some alcohol to get all that dust off before we apply the CA finish. All right, so this time though, I am going to be applying it to the pad itself. What did I do that for? That's not the right way to do it. And then just kind of wipe it on, all right? So I like to fold this over 3 times. It just keeps my fingers from getting CA'd. Can you guys see how is it looking here? Let's kind of get you guys in here just a little bit closer. Hold on, sorry about that. Jeez. The legs would not do what I want. Come on, work with me here. Right there. Okay. Yeah, it works better doing it this way. I think we're just going to apply a few coats and then just walk away kind of thing. You can spend a lot of time sanding and polishing, but I don't think it's going to end up a whole lot better. So I've just applied it to the rag. Then you just kind of quickly apply a coat. And I mean, it looks fine. That's the thing, is that's pretty good. I'm going to do one more. We need to hit it with the accelerator. But I just think that a lot of times you're kind of spinning your wheels by messing around with the ends like this. With a bunch of coats of CA and doing all that. I just don't think that it's going to be that much better looking, you know. Okay, maybe we'll put on two or three coats. And we're putting on fairly thin coats. I'm not loading up the paper with a bunch of CA glue. You just want a thin coat. That way you're getting it, the thinner the coat, the easier it is to kind of apply, I think, to get nice and smooth. I kind of like that little indentation. The blanks have, so just to let folks that are mystery blank folks, the blanks have a little indentation because of the plugs that we use to plug the PVC pipe. So just be aware of that. If you don't want that, you know, because that is it goes in a ways. You might want to just cut that off before you start. Otherwise, you're going to have to turn away that hole if you don't like it, or just do what I did. Add a little feature. Make it a feature, you know? That's still a little tacky. I'm just going to do that. I cannot wait to put this on the pizza cutter thing itself. Oh, man. That's better. Okay, one more coat and I'm calling it a day. That's all you really need. Okay. And I'll try and get it kind of a close-up and show you the end here and see what you guys think. You know, I don't know that it's really worth the time investment in sanding and polishing and doing all that stuff after you've applied the finish. I think you can really just get away with just dropping some CA glue on there. It's the same sheen and everything for the most part, and then just kind of walk away. There's maybe a few ridges and stuff, but nobody's looking at that anyway. So we'll see what you guys think. I'm gonna put some gloves on because my hands have dust and CA glue and who knows whatever on them. I'm going to bring you guys around. There's better lighting on this side. Got a little bit of plastic polish on the inside here that I'm just going to wipe off. I think I'm going to just make sure get all that stuff out. Okay, so here's the end. I mean, it's fine, you know? I think it looks fine. Everybody's looking at this part anyway. That turned out pretty good. I mean, the color choices were great. So big thank you to the chat on that. All right, let me go get the pizza cutter wheel. All right, so if you didn't see it, this is the pizza cutter we got. And I need to clean that thing up a little bit. I got fingerprints all over it. Can I zoom out a little bit? Oh, there, sort of. That is a pizza cutter. Oh, feels pretty good in the hand too. Handle's a little long, but if you need to double grip it, you got the double grip. But this feels nice right up at the top there. That's it. Actually, I really like this little bump. It kind of fits kind of nice in the hand. Ooh, what do you guys think? Man, I'm gonna have to polish the cutter wheel up for the pictures. And so the nice thing is you got that you got the insert in there, so you can just, you know, when you need to clean this thing, you can just take that off. One thing that I think I'm going to do, I think that, okay. So you can, you know, put this thing in the dishwasher, I think, or just hand wash it, whatever. One thing I'm going to do is actually seal the end of this real quick with some CA glue, because we didn't really cover that part of the cholla. I don't know that it's that big of a deal, really, but why not, you know? It's kind of how I'm thinking about it. Kind of like the same idea as like pen blanks. Because you probably will want to wash the handle every once in a while, you know, too. And so if we got everything nice and sealed up, then there's just zero worries. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first use the super fast thin to kind of, hopefully the idea is to kind of let it penetrate into the cholla maybe a little bit. And I'm going to apply it to the paper towel. And then, actually, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. Hold on. I'm going to kind of bend fold over the paper towel. Just kind of get it down on this end, because I don't really want to get CA glue all over the place. And just kind of apply this to all the little ends where the CA or the cholla is. Maybe do that one more time. Add a little bit more. Hopefully I'm on camera. All right, so that's the Star Bond, super fast thin, to kind of penetrate in a little bit. And then we're gonna switch. I'm gonna put a little bit of this mercury on as well, just because it's a little bit on the thicker side, and it'll just give it a little bit more coating, let's say, or protection. You could use like a paintbrush or something probably too, I don't know. Just want to kind of give it a little bit of protection, you know. I'm going to do one more with the mercury. All right, and then I'm going to hit it with the spray accelerator over here. Just to make sure everything's nice and dried before we put our pizza cutter on there. I want to glue that to it. Okay, so, but like I said, it's real handy. You don't have to worry about anything moving. Got that thing glued in there. And there we go. I gotta clean that up. What is on there? I'm gonna try using a little bit of alcohol here. Just real quick to kind of clean up the the fingerprints on this thing. They just don't look awesome, you know what I mean? Gotta get this thing nice and clean. There we go. It's looking a little better. So this thing's got some heft to it. I mean, you can cut some serious pizza with this thing. I think it's a pretty good, it fits pretty good in the hand. You know, I mean, this part could have been maybe a little bit longer. You know, for my hand, it might be a little bit nicer, but I gotta be honest, these bumps actually are kind of nice. You can kind of get a grip and then kind of put your thumb there. It's not too bad. Yeah, Q-tip would have been a good one. That's a good one. I don't think I have any. Yeah, these kits are pretty cool. So the kit, the pizza wheel, is linked down in the description. The mandrel, everything I could think of before the stream started is linked down below. But I'm super stoked about this thing. It really, you know, and this is the cool thing about the Cholla. I mean, Cholla is just so cool. You get all these little colors popping through the holes. It's just such a fun material, and I don't know. But great job picking the colors from the chat on Wednesday. Wow, you guys nailed it, totally nailed it. I was like, oh wow, Seahawks colors. But when I look at this, although, you know, this would be an awesome pizza cutter for a Seahawks fan, but it doesn't really make me think like, oh, it's just a Seahawks pizza cutter. It's pretty good. It's a pretty interesting mix of colors. I've never seen anything like it before. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this thing come together. Sorry about the little hiccup with the camera. I was thinking that it wasn't charging, but it actually was. So we had to mess around with that. A middle-aged weapon, I know. It could be. And like I said, you can double hand it if you have to, you know, really get in there. You got a you know, deep dish pizza. You can two-hand it. That's what I like. Get you some extra leverage on that pizza. So anyway, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the weekend. So actually, real quick, next Wednesday, well, probably Wednesday and Saturday, because if we don't do anything Saturday or Wednesday, we may not have a Saturday stream. So next Wednesday, the stream is tentatively not going to happen because I have to take my truck into the shop, and I don't know how long that's going to take. So tentative on the live stream on Wednesday next week. And if we don't cast anything, I'll probably take Saturday off because realistically I could actually use that day to get videos made. I'm still trying to get a few different like regular videos done. So just to let you guys know, oh, there's Yak. How long have you been here? I didn't even see who said that about the middle-aged weapon. How's it going, man? So anyway, like I said, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the weekend, though. But keep in mind, keep your eyes peeled for notifications about Wednesday or lack thereof. I will try, if I'm pretty sure that we're not going to be doing it, I'll try and post like the shorts and on Instagram stories probably. If it's going to be canceled, if I know for sure, or if I know we are definitely doing it, I'll let you guys know. But you'll see the thing pop up. So anyway, I had a really fun time. It's the most awesome pizza cutter you've ever seen. I got to be honest, this is up there for me too. I haven't seen anything that I can think of that's better either. I'm pretty happy with it. It turned out pretty good. And then so the mystery box subscribers, so you guys will be getting some of these Cholla handles. I got 5 more to make. I'm going to do that today. So they'll be ready for next month's box. And your boxes are going to be going out on Monday. So, or well, probably Tuesday, because I'm guessing that the post office is not open on Monday for Memorial Day. So they're going out this week. They're already boxed up and everything's ready to go. I need a post office that's open. Oh, it's okay, Yak. Thanks for coming in, man. I read the middle-aged weapon thing and I didn't read who actually wrote that. And I was like, oh, it's Yak. So let's see. Is there anything else? So don't forget, guys, the SoCal Pen, or not Pen, I always think that. The SoCal Turners Expo is coming up. It's going to be over July 4th weekend. So I think it's the 2nd and 3rd. So I'm definitely going to be there. Turner's Warehouse, Chad's going to, do a booth and everything like that. So that's a pretty cool thing that's going to happen in Anaheim. And then also the AAW Symposium is happening in Chattanooga. And I made a bunch of blanks for EasyWood Tools. You guys, I think most of you guys saw it. If you didn't see the blanks, I did a reel on Instagram that showed all of them. Some really amazing blanks that Carl's going to be turning at their booth. I'm not going to be there at that one, but they're going to be turning those at the booth. And I think that if you're going to be in the area, if you're going to be there, make sure to stop by and see what those things become. Frankly, I don't know what they're even going to make out of them. So make sure to check those out. It's always fun to get out at these events. It's fun to meet people and learn stuff and see all the vendors. I love the vendor part. That's always my favorite part. What tools can I buy right now? So it should be pretty cool. So anyway, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Memorial Day weekend. And if I don't see you Wednesday, I will definitely see you in the next video. We should have one up possibly on this Sunday in a couple days. And if not, it'll be on next Sunday. So I appreciate you guys all joining the fun today, watching the videos. Make sure to hit that like button before you leave. That helps out a ton. And like always, one of the biggest things you can do to help support the show is just share videos. If you know somebody that might be interested in watching one of my videos, drop it on Facebook or put it in a group or whatever. Reddit is a really big place also. If anybody's a Reddit, avid Reddit person, I'm not personally. But that's a good place to post videos and share with people if you guys, as long as it's not spammy. Don't spam people, but share with people who might be interested. I always appreciate that. So anyway, guys, have a wonderful rest of the evening tonight, and I will see you guys on the next stream.